It's another great day to be watching anime as we just got episode 3 of S-Rank Musume, My Daughter Left the Nest and Return an S-Rank Adventurer, and we do finally meet a Demon King, but he made one fatal mistake, and that was keeping Angie from her dad. This episode was a bit more laid back, I felt like. Not too much happened in terms of developments, but I really enjoyed it still for what it is, and this show keeps being a guilty pleasure for me, and a show that you can really just enjoy and smile and smirk to, and just feel good to. That father-daughter dynamic is still very wholesome, and the reunion we get at the end of the episode was very touching in its own way as well. So finally, we find out that there are more S-Rank adventurers in this world. Apparently the Guildmaster is a former S-Rank, that's interesting, and he also brings in some retired S-Rankers to deal with all this influx of monsters, and then of course he brings the revelation that a Demon King has been behind it, and they go on, take it on with all the other newer adventurers. Now, I did, in earlier episodes, question whether there were any other S-Rank adventurers around, because apparently Angie had to do everything, and I guess we now find out that basically of her generation, or the adventurers that are not retired, there are practically no S-Rankers around, seemingly, because the only ones we are introduced to, again, are the retired ones. They are still strong as fuck though, but still. Of course, they fight this Demon King, and Angie basically goes Super Saiyan because she wants to see her dad, and one hit KOs the Demon King. I did sort of want to see more action, but I understand how that might not firstly be the focus of the anime. I get that. It isn't an action show, and I suppose it could be expensive to really try to animate some in-depth fights, especially not important fights. But I do hope later in the season we do get to see Angie, as well as her dad, Belgrieve, sort of fight something, either together or separately, and just really seeing some nice animation with that, as the animation we got for this fight, this episode, was very, well, still and simple. But it's fine, it's fine. Later as well in the episode, we do find out that, okay, the Demon King was put there by some shadowy antagonist who is up to no good for some reason. Sure, we will find out more around that later. But again, of course, with this show, what you really come to see is Angeline and her raving about her dad and hyping him up, and just this wonderful father-daughter dynamic that we get every episode. After they defeat the Demon King, Angeline can finally go home, as the retired S-Rankers basically say, we'll take care of the remnants of the monsters, you can go home and see your dad. This is also the point where we get to learn a bit more about why Angeline decided not to quit the guild she was in this town, or just leave in general, because most of the other adventurers, especially the high-ranked ones, apparently just left this guild because of all the work and the monsters and the stress. But Angeline stayed, and she reveals that, yes, I stayed because my father taught me, that the strong protect the weak, and everything he taught me would be in vain, and he would be disappointed in me if I chose to just either go home in the middle of a crisis when no one else could take care of things, or if I just left to have some easier job. I thought that was a nice addition there, as I did have a question of why she didn't just go home in prior episodes. And again, of course, that harkens back to the relationship between her and her father, and that connectivity and the wisdom that he has passed on to her, and that she really tries to remember and put into use in daily life. Even when she is finding the Demon King, she uses a advice from her father on how to locate the Demon King, basically. So again, all good, all great. And then, of course, we get the reunion scene and the ending part of episode 3. I did like how we get to the reunion part, that she looks over her home village and starts thinking of her father, like, I'm so close to home, right? And how she then starts to question herself, maybe being a bit doubtful of, maybe my father doesn't want to see me, maybe, he doesn't want me to come home, maybe, he has other things he's more worried about, and just having a lot of self-doubt and questioning herself and what she's doing, and if her going home is actually a good idea. Maybe that the Bordeaux family, that he didn't go with them, was because of her, and maybe she feels guilty about that, etc. But then she comes to the realization at the end, like, no, my dad isn't like that. Which I also liked as a small note there. Then, of course, yes, we do get the reunion scene. That was very heartwarming and wholesome and adorable. Seeing her just roll up on this wagon, but as soon as she sees her dad, she jumps off, runs to him, and it's like, well, yeah, did you know I got S-Rank? I did this, I beat a Demon King the other day. Just rambling off everything she's done in the past 5 years while they've been apart, and just running up to him. It's like, I did this and this. It was very nice to see just her rambling on to her father before her father just pats her on the head, just like, you've grown so much, you're like a proper woman now, I didn't recognize you, you suit your new long hair, etc., etc. And then, of course, having this wholesome moment and the hug at the end. This show, as I've said, it continues to be a guilty pleasure, and to me a hidden gem, just as I really feel like we don't get this sort of dynamic and a relationship explored at all. And it looks like the next episode will actually just be Angeline and her father and her adventure party relaxing in her home village and interacting with each other and exploring things in a more quiet, serene environment, which to me sounds great. I was, until this episode, very worried about the blue balling of the reunion, but thankfully we did get it this episode, which was nice to see. Again, if you haven't watched it, or watched this show even, I would highly recommend it. If you have watched my previous episode reviews, you will know why I think it is as good as it is. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode 3 review of S-Rank Musume. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff to support this channel. And if you have any comments or questions or anything about the video or the show, leave those in the comment section down below. And if you would like to watch another episode 1 review of a recently released fall 2023 anime, click on this video right here.